Hello, beautiful unicorns. Yana Kasperczak coming to you live from Ontario, of Canada. As your certified professional performance and spiritual awakening core energy coach, it has been my soul's purpose to help women, to help you get your shit together so you can break free from the mental prison you find yourself in and build a business, life, and or career that you are obsessed with. And to help you do that, and then some, to live a life that you are obsessed with. It requires you truly understanding how you are co-creating your life every second of the day with the help of the universe, with the help of God, as some of you might refer to the universe, however or whatever you refer to that that energy that is outside of us, so that life and that existence, the thing that gives and creates miracles and magic in everyday life for many people. So today's topic that I want to talk about is aligning. Let me actually I forgot what the actual name of the topic is. So today's topic is one more money, align your energy, babe. Unicorn. You gotta understand that many of you already understand this, but you maybe understand it on an intellectual level. And the goal when it comes to manifesting the life you want, living the life that you want, is going to be to really understand on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level beyond just the intellectual level of what is entailed and what it means to really truly align your energy so you can manifest, quote unquote, so you can have and live the life that you want to live. With this topic, the best way that I can really start with is for you to really understand what gratitude is and how gratitude feels within you. And you've already felt gratitude in your life. And the best way how we can understand an emotion is when we have experienced it. And when we have experienced an emotion, you've already done this many times. You probably already done this today as well. Perhaps not in this positive way, but you have already gone down your memory lane. Like I said, probably already done this today. And you revisited some kind of a memory. And when you revisited that memory, you felt the same feelings and emotions you did when you were reminiscing, when you were in that memory. And for many of you, that memory that you brought into the present moment when you were in that present moment was a negative one, was not necessarily a very happy and a pleasant one. And what I am trying to get you to do is, or remind you to do, is use that skill, that powerful skill that you already have, to tap into your past and the emotions, because that's how we all understand the emotions, but in a positive way, where you're tapping in to gratitude, when you're tapping into abundance. For some of you, maybe it was something that you've experienced yesterday or a week ago or two or a year or two, or maybe when you were a child, you really felt that emotional state of gratitude, not being grateful, but feeling gratitude, being gratitude, or freedom, feeling free and feeling like you are, everything is at your feet, that everything is reachable. You can have and do and be anything or anyone you want. I mean, you can't, not necessarily anything. You can be a tree. You can, but not, you can. Just because you stand there and pretend to be a tree for days or weeks or months does not mean you're going to grow roots. I mean, if it does, let me know. But when you tap in to that emotional state, you're tapping in to the infinite flow, and everything that you want. Let me just put my phone on silent, okay, everything that you want is attached to an emotion. So when it comes to money, because most people nowadays, this is one of the most default programs that all of us have, that all of us have received, that we need and want more money, and without money we can't, do or have the things that we want. And in some cases it is true, while in other cases it's not. I was talking to a woman today, and you know, I made a joke, but to every joke there's some truth. So if you really think about it, it's true. We're talking about time machines, okay? And how, oh, I wish that there was a time machine that I can save time to get to work, or to go on that vacation, or to go somewhere. Well, my joke was, which is partially true as well, is or was, that time machine already exists. And exists when you close your eyes and you visualize. And when you close your eyes, you visualize you're right there on that beach that you want to be on. You're right there in the office that you don't want to be at. You're right there in a field of your favorite flowers that you dream of being at. Just when you open your eyes, don't feel the disappointment when you're not there. Open your eyes and still feel like you are there. So when it comes to financial abundance, when it comes to money, your mindset, your thoughts that are attached to your feelings and your emotions are the ones that are going to be, for the lack of better words, they're going to be dictating your reality. And your perception is your reality. So if your perception is, I don't have any, there's never enough, no matter what I do, we can't do that, we can't afford that, and it's always talking and focused on the lack, then that will be the reality. Because whatever it is that you think about the most, whatever it is that you focus on, whatever it is that you're breathing life into, whatever garden you're watering, it is a garden. A subconscious garden, but it's a garden. Whatever garden you are watering is going to be the one that will grow and bloom. But the shitty part is that most of you are not even aware of that internal dialogue, of those thoughts, feelings, and even emotions that are coming up for you to be looked at, to be dealt at. You have learned through a long period of time of conditioning to ignore your guts, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, to not hear them, to not understand them. When you do that long enough, you eventually end up losing yourself. And when you lose yourself, as shitty as that feels, it is a very powerful place to be. Because when you really truly find yourself after having been lost, you can never lose yourself again. And the way that you will begin to find yourself is go down that rabbit hole that you don't want to go into, that you are terrified and scared of going into. The rabbit hole of getting to know who you are right now. And the reason why you don't want to go there, why you don't want to know who you are right now, is because you don't like who you are. And that is the truth. You don't like who you are. And that's okay. You're not supposed to, because who you are right now is not the true, real, authentic you. Who you are right now is a bunch of programs that you have unconsciously accepted as yours, as you, that are now running or ruining your life, that are dictating all of the stories internally that you're living through externally. Stories like money stories, time stories, love stories, right? With other people, with yourself, worthiness stories, good enough stories, all these different types of stories that you're carrying within you that are by design meant to limit you. And you have been taught and programmed to not go within, to not look within, to look outside of yourself for answers, for everything. Whereas in reality, the answers that you get, you don't hear them outside of you. You hear them inside. You hear them in your head. There's a voice that speaks to you. Let's say you're watching a movie or a podcast, or listening or watching this podcast, the Get Your Shit Together Weekly Love Guidance with myself, Yana Kasperczak, on Thursdays that I do at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time on my personal page. So if you're listening, let's say, to this podcast, and you had an aha moment, that aha moment, even though you heard something outside of you, the aha moment and the thoughts that followed and the realizations that followed that aha moment were not outside of you. They were inside. And most people ignore that, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you have been taught to not pay attention to your feelings, emotions, your triggers, your thoughts, and just let it go and let it be and ignore it, deal with it later, which is really means never. Because later never comes, just like tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow will always be tomorrow. Yesterday will always be yesterday. Last year will always be last year. Last month will always be last month, no matter what month it was, right? So when we begin to understand the power of language, we practice and make it a habit to pause and pay attention to our thoughts, which at this point are probably coming through as feelings or as emotions. Now, how many of you actually can identify what emotion you're feeling when you're feeling it? Most people can't, because this is not something that's taught at school. That's not something that parents teach. That's not something that we learn. That's something that we must go on our own path to learn and to really understand all of these gifts that we have been giving, our feelings and emotions. And at this stage of my life, and having learned enormous amount of information about the mind, about the body, about the feelings, about emotions, about words, I'm beginning to really see and understand the reason why we're not taught these things at school, because that's not something that they want us to master. Because when we master our feelings and emotions, which means that we understand each and every feeling and emotion that we have at our disposal, what each one creates and manifests, and how to use each feeling and emotion. When we truly understand, then we will see just how powerful we are. And it will be evident in our external world. So, if you don't like your external world, you can't change your external world. Yes, you can clean and organize your space and make it all pretty and redo and renovate. That's great. But that's a band-aid fix. That's something that before you know it, will get back to the same place it was, the same way it was. But if you want long-lasting change for anything in your external life, you gotta work on the internal. So when it comes to money, finances, you can also do all of this internal work. But if you're not understanding the language of money, which is energy, and you don't pay attention to your actual finances and just close your eyes and hope your bills are going to get paid, that everything is going to work out in the best way it can, wishful thinking doesn't fix anything, which means that you also need to take action and learn a thing or two. Maybe if you don't know how to save or invest, you start there. Most people think that in order for someone to invest or save money for the rainy day, that you need to have a lot or you need to put away a lot. No, you don't. How often does a rainy day come? I mean, nature often, but in life, not that often. And when it comes to investing, it doesn't need to be much. 10, 15, 20, 25, 50, $100 a paycheck. You put that away into a savings account or investment account that you cannot take it out from, and watch it grow. And watch it grow. And that will be a perfect reminder of how money works as well, how you can grow and build wealth. And little by little, you will learn what works for you and what doesn't, how much you want to invest and how much you don't want to invest, how to how you think about money is going to also, like I said in the beginning, is going to determine how much you're going to have. And if you are always consciously, or at this point probably unconsciously, in this emotional state of always feeling like there is never enough, then the universe will find all these different ways that it's not going to be enough to prove it to you. But when you see and believe that there's always enough and there's always more than you need, then there will be more than you need. But it is an emotional state that takes time to reprogram, because right now, the stories you're carrying about money that have been given to you over your lifetime, the beliefs that you have, the limiting beliefs that you have about money, the assumptions that you have, the interpretations that you have, that voice of the inner critic that you have about money, that you don't deserve to buy that because of whatever reason it tells you, right? Or even just you don't deserve to buy that without any reasons. That for you already enough, because subconsciously you already know and you don't need to hear those reasons anymore. Um, but the limiting beliefs and the stories that you carry, when you start to identify them, then you will see why your financial circumstances are the way that they are. And then if you ask wealthy people, like financially wealthy, because when it comes to wealth, it's not just financial wealth. There's so many different types of wealth. I've talked about this topic as well. I actually just uploaded it onto my podcast, the Get Your Shit Together with Yana Kasperczak podcast. So if you want to listen to it, go check it out. But actually, no, it's going to be coming out soon. I scheduled it, didn't even upload it. My bad. But you can subscribe and then you'll get notification when it comes up. So if you talk to financially wealthy people and you ask them, how do they look on money? How do they think about money? What does money mean to them? What they say is going to be very different than what you would say. What do you think they would say? How do you think they would describe money? The way that they would, at the core of it, would be abundance. That there's always more, they don't know what to do with it, that it always comes to them, that it's a tool, it's something that allows them to experience life to its fullest and greatest potential, that they're so happy and thankful to have it, that they get to help this person, that person, their families, charities, places that, and then those people who don't, their mindset will be all in the scarcity, that there's never enough, that I always have to fight for it, or, well, money doesn't grow on trees, or money is hard to earn. I gotta work really hard for every dollar that I make. Rich people are greedy, rich people are evil, and whereas the wealthy person, their mindset would be, money flows to me and through me. It comes to me easily and effortlessly. I'm wealthy, or I am wealth, or I am worthy of wealth. They know that they're deserving. They have a different way of not just looking and thinking about money, but feeling about money. Their emotional approach and view of money is different than that of a poor person. If you put, and one example I like to give, some of you might have already heard this, is that if you take all the money in the world from all the wealthy people, that money will find its way back to them and then some. So, and that's the other part, is most people are not born rich or wealthy financially, but they are given opportunities throughout their lifetime that some of them become conscious of, while others don't become conscious of. But the opportunities are there, available equally for everyone. And the opportunities are for every individual to reprogram themselves and earn their status, earn their wealth, and become that person. While others, who I'm sure you've also heard, there's many people who have won the lottery and lots, millions and millions of dollars. And it wasn't very long that after, because they don't know, they're not a millionaire, right? It is a mindset as well. A millionaire will always be a millionaire. A billionaire will always be a billionaire, no matter what, because if you think about yourself as a magnet, things will magnetize to you based on the cards that you're carrying, based on the mindset, the set of cards that you have in your mind, the stories, the beliefs that you have. Because right now, what you believe, you also know it to be true. But beliefs can be changed. What you know cannot be changed. The known is the truth, and beliefs can be changed and manipulated in anything that you want it to be. So if or when a person wins $1 million or 10 million, or, you know, let's say $5 million a person wins, but they themselves are not a millionaire, they would not know what to do. Their energy and who they are is going to, for the imagery that comes to mind, is that they're going to have holes in their pockets, and the money is just going to, fall through the holes in their pockets, or holes in their hands slip through their fingers, because they are not a millionaire. It's another example that comes to mind is that you only become a mother after you have a child. Whether you gave birth to a child or you adopted a child, you become a mother after you have a child. Same thing, you become a father after you have a child. But before that, you were not. You were just you. And also, after you become a mother or father, it takes you some time to adjust and really truly become a mother or a father. You don't become a mother or father mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a split of a second. You don't. It takes you a moment. It takes you days, weeks, months, or years to really become a mother, to really feel and know that you are a mother. The same concept, the same analogy can be applied to you becoming financially wealthy and abundant. It's not something that you can become overnight, even though you're dreaming and hoping and that's what's going to happen. But you wouldn't even know what to do with it. You got to learn how to become a mother to that money, to that wealth. So you can always get that back no matter what happens. You grow into one. You don't become one. When we achieve things in our life, like even becoming a mother, you don't just become one. You grow into one. You evolve into one. And the one that you want to. That's why even when it comes to the mindset and the stories that mothers carry, many of them are not healthy. But if you pause and think and identify what those stories are, you can begin to rewrite them, because how can you fix something that you don't know is broke? If you don't know what stories and messages you're carrying, how can you replace them? Just replacing them and, putting positive ones on top of all the other shitty ones is not going to solve the root of the problem. You might just find yourself confused with a positive and a negative, and it might take a while. But when you understand yourself, when you get to know yourself through your thoughts, through the way that you view and perceive yourself and the external world, and everything and everyone that's in your external world, when you really truly understand those things and you identify them, then you can do something about it. But if you don't know who the invader is, how can you know how to get rid of that invader? How to, get rid of that weed in your garden? So that's really what I wanted to talk about today, about how to align yourself and your energy and help you to understand in all these different ways, all these different examples about what energy is, what energy isn't, and how to tap into it, and how to bring it into the now. And when you spend more time in the positive energy, you'll attract more of the positive. But if you're spending time in the negative energy, you'll attract that. And on top of that, pay attention to the content and the people that are around you, the content you're consuming, and the people that are around you that you're consuming as well. It's going to play a massive role on your energy. Whether you're conscious of it or not, it plays a massive role. If you're going on social media and you're mindlessly scrolling, and everything that you're mindlessly scrolling through or looking at is not filling your cup or adding value into your life, but it is maybe emptying your cup or draining you, then either get off social media or change your news feed. Change your newsfeed. You have options. Just because you're following someone does not mean you need to see their content. If it does not bring you joy, why are you holding on to it? Life is so short and yet it's so long. And it goes by like this. It goes by so quickly. And yet it feels like it takes a long time for us to get through 1 year. And then when we get through the year is over. Then what? And if you reflect back, like, I like to do these reflections almost weekly. Reflect back on the week, on the month, on the year, and try to remember all the things that you did that you really, really enjoyed. And then think of all the things that you did that you didn't enjoy. And then think maybe of all the things that you wished and hoped you would enjoy or do and experience, but you didn't. Think of those and identify why. Why didn't you? What stopped you? What really stopped you? Good afternoon, Kimberly. How are you doing, beautiful? What really stopped you from having that experience, from doing that thing that you said you wanted to do? What got in the way? And when you pause and think, you will see that it's you, no one else. And if we're using other people or circumstances as an excuse, we're using them as an excuse for, for not doing the things that we want to do. Because when you were young, even your parents couldn't tell you what to do, right? You still did what you wanted to. But now all of a sudden, you're not allowing yourself. Now you become your own parent. And you're not allowing you, the inner child that's within you, to live a joyful life. We are meant to experience joy. We're meant to experience sadness and grief and sorrow and anger and fear and disappointment and happiness and gratitude and fulfillment, all of these emotions. But more often than not, we don't allow ourselves to. We deny ourselves feeling and experiencing, forgetting that this is the reason why we wanted to be a human, because we want to experience all of those feelings and emotions, because only as humans we get to do that, as far as we know. And denying yourself your humanity, I feel like that would be one of the greatest losses. If you feel sad, don't deny yourself feeling sad. Feel it. Understand it. Lean into it. And when I say understand it, I mean identify, why are you feeling sad? What is causing you sadness? Internally and externally. Understand yourself through your sadness. Any feeling and emotion that you're experiencing is calling you to go within, to go inside and identify and learn more about yourself. That's why you're here, to get to know yourself. And get to know and experience life through the eyes of other people, but really to get to know yourself and to master thyself, to master yourself, to become the best version of yourself for you. that you would be proud of, that you would be happy, that at the end of your life, you can sit back and say, wow, what a life. I have lived and I have enjoyed it, and I am ready to go because I've done and experienced everything that I wanted to. How many people do you know that have said that at the end of their life? Or that would say that? Would you say that? If today was your last day, would you have said that you've done and experienced everything that you wanted to? Or would there be some regret? It's a great way of um, really grounding yourself and figuring out what kind of life you actually want to live. It's a reality check. Sometimes we're stuck in our fantasy where we forget that we're actually humans and forget to live because of all these different excuses and reasons. But when we pause and smell the roses, we really get to be in the present moment. And if you're not living the life that you want to live, if you're not loving life, if you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong. So figure out what doing it right means to you. And one of those things, it's going to be getting to know yourself, who you truly are, and accepting her. Because, like I said in the beginning, you're not going to like her. You're not. Because all the things that you're being right now, this is what's causing you sadness, grief, shame, embarrassment, and anger and anxiety, is because you're not happy with who you are right now. But you're not stuck there. That is who you are right now, is a bunch of programs, as I said in the beginning, that you have accepted as you, as the truth, that unconsciously. And now I'm inviting you to really get to know yourself, whether you like her or not, besides the point. Get to know the only person that you really truly can get to know in this lifetime, that you're meant to really get to know. And when you do that, you get to also change and rewrite that default programming that is right now dictating 95% of your day. That's why most of your days are the same. They're not really different. And when you start to change your default program, your day-to-day will also begin to change. We think that and this is what holds most women back, is that you might think that it's going to happen like this, that all of a sudden your whole entire life is going to be different. No, it's going to be almost invisible. It happens so seamless and so gentle that it doesn't actually hurt, because it feels like it's going to hurt. But that's the mind, that's the inner critic trying to talk you out of change, because it doesn't want you to change. Why change? You're comfortable in your own sadness, misery, anxiety, overwhelm, stress, and burnout and tiredness. You're comfortable there. It's familiar. You know what to expect. But change brings a lot of unknown, and yet it's known. But when you actually change, it doesn't hurt. The only times and moments it might hurt is when you are pushing through resistance that is coming up through you, through that inner critic, through that imposter within you that is not wanting you to change. But once you start, it becomes easier and easier and easier, and it just changes every part of your life in ways that will be unrecognizable, but not initially. And by nature, we humans, we fear change. It's natural. It's our Um, it is that default program that will be harder to rewrite, but it's not impossible. When you're feeling discomfort, your default program is going to tell you to back away, to lean away. But what you're actually meant to do is lean into it, understand it, and use it to grow and become who you want to become, who you're meant to become. So that's all that I want to talk about today about, when it comes to wealth, but really comes down to energy itself and your programming and replacing your programming with the one that you want little by little and tapping into gratitude and healing your relationship with money, thinking of money as energy, as a partner, as a tool, and recognize how you're treating money, how you're talking to money. And when you pay attention, you'll notice that you wouldn't even want to stick around. So pay attention to how you treat money, how you talk to it, how you ignore it, how you fear, how you resent it. And no one would want to stick around for that. So that's one of the reasons why there's holes in your pockets, or everything slips through your fingers because of how you treat and talk to money. And I know some of you will say, no, I treat money well and great. Well, if you did, you'd have lots of it because it would want to stay. It will come to you and be like, oh my God, this is my best friend. I want to go hang out with my best friend. So pause and think and pay attention and shift and change. So that's all I want to talk about for today. Hope this was helpful. Looking forward to hearing from each and every one of you. What was your biggest takeaway from today? And what are you going to do with that takeaway? Knowledge is not really power unless you apply it. Applied knowledge is power. So now that you're getting to know something, becoming aware of something, your biggest takeaway, you got to apply it. Take one little step today towards whatever it is that you have identified. Rebecca says, for sure, even when I do chores, my perspective has changed. I no longer think of it as a task, but rather said self-care, self-love, healing. Yes. I would also add discipline on top of that. As you know, the way that I refer to discipline is the ultimate act of self-love. So when we're disciplined enough to get up, brush our teeth, get dressed and ready for the day, whether you're leaving the house or not, make the bed, feed ourselves, feed our kids, make the tea or coffee, clean up after ourselves and our kids, and also get our kids to clean up after themselves because we ain't maids and we are not raising children who cannot take care of themselves that their partners are not going to be happy with later. So we want to raise independent children. By nature, all of us are dependent, but we also want our children to be independent. So doing all of these mundane things, we can look at it, as you said, look at it as something that I have to do, or this is self-care, this is self-love, this is healing, this is me taking care of myself, loving myself, and being disciplined. Disciplined, but being disciplined. And Rebecca says, I feel disappointed, and that motivates me to evolve. When you feel disappointed, it motivates you to evolve. Yeah, that can be a great tool as well. When you become aware of your feeling being disappointment and you identify what is triggering the disappointment, then you can use that as motivation to take action in that what you have identified. That's a great way to actually wrap it up, because what I'm asking you to identify in the end is your biggest takeaway. You maybe are identifying a disappointment, identifying an opportunity. Disappointment is opportunity as well. And when you identify, Rebecca says, meaning disappointed in myself. Yeah. When you become aware of that you're disappointed of yourself, you then become aware of why you're disappointed in yourself. That's your aha moment. And then you take action. So, your biggest takeaway and what are you going to do with it? That's it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day, Kimberly, as well. Thank you very much, Rebecca and Kimberly, for being on here live and chit chatting with me as well. Looking forward to hearing from all of their replay watchers as well. And until we see each other next time, have an amazing the rest of your day or weekend if we don't see each other. And I'll see you either here. No, actually, in the group Heal the Unicorn Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women for my weekly card reading, 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time, or next week back here in the same place, my personal page on Facebook, with another Get Your Shit Together weekly live guidance with another topic. Until we see each other next time, have an amazing rest of your day or weekend. Bye, everybody.